It's the psychology of, well, I guess I like to think of it as isolated and confined environments is so important because it's challenging to live with just a small group of people for a long time in an isolated space. You really have to get along well, and if things don't go well, if you have a conflict, it can lead to lingering resentments that maybe don't ever get better. And so this is the kind of thing that terminates missions to Antarctica, and it terminates space missions too. If people really can't get along, that's fundamental to having the mission be successful. One of my favorite stories was from the International Biomedical Expedition to Antarctica, which took place in 1981. And it was a group of scientists doing work that they loved, going to a really interesting place. They did a winter over at Antarctica doing their science. And when they came back, if you read the psychologist's report afterwards, what the person says is that none found the experience enjoyable. And it wasn't because of any of the hardships or because of the climate or anything. It was because of the other people. So they just found that being on that deployment, even though it was like, for many of them, something they dreamed about for a long time, it turned out to be a very bad experience. And it was entirely because of the psychological aspect.
Absolutely. There's a saying about analog missions, and perhaps that extends to Antarctic and space missions. You'll either be best friends for life or you'll never speak to each other again. So I think that's something that we need to identify and mitigate. And before I turn it over to Dr. Whiteley, you also made me think of an anecdote from 2018 where two Soviet scientists were on a long duration Antarctic mission. And one, just to kind of pass the time, would spoil the endings of books for the other. And